Well, this is that big popple log that I drug out from down below. You know, the top had been broken off, but the bottom is good. And I figured I could make some boards out of this. And, you know, I could get, let's see, like, yeah, I could easily get, you know, like maybe 8 or 9 1-inch boards a foot wide out of that. Or I might screw around and get some wider. It's, even after I took the bad end off, it's still a good 30 feet long. And I knocked another foot off of the bottom just to check, well, because the bottom is really quite a taper anyway. You know, the base is always a little awkward to work with, so it's kind of better to discard that. But there is this spot in the middle that's got a little rot in it, and there is a crack going. So I'm trying to work around that. So what I'll be doing, I'll be squaring it off this way, and then I can start with the Alaskan. I'll do this with the Haddon and this with the Alaskan. But it's got a little bit of bow in it, you know, a little snake. So I think right down there, I'm going to cut it off. And it's still, I guess, a good 16 feet. So I think I'll do that, and then I'll haul it home and line it up and scheme out my method here. Okay, what I've got here, you know, I took and nailed my 2x6 onto the flattest part of the board that I could find, or of the log, but at an angle to that crack. Now what I'm going to do, I'll roll the log over and tack it on. I think I'll probably tack it on this side first and get a square, you know, tack it on here and cut a flat on this side. Then I will start going with the Alaskan. And I'm going to first cut a 1-inch board, the full width, then drop down and do like a 4-inch. That should get me through the crack and through the rotted part. And then I can cut 4x4s out of these. Or whatever works out. You know, I might drop down 2 inches and try it and see, but that way I can just discard the center part and still get some good pieces out of it. Then I can start on the real meat of the log. But it all depends on what it looks like, you know, down the middle. Because down here I've got a couple of knots that I think they're kind of poking through to that rotted core. But hopefully once I get on the other side of that, I'll be in good material. But I'm going to throw this out of the way and roll that one. And to do that I can, you know, I've got it. I should show that. You know, I set it on big posts underneath that give me a little room to maneuver. And then to block it into position, you know, I can lift it with the 3-point on the tractor. And then I use pieces like this that are out of oak that I use to block to keep it from rolling. Because like say, when I was cutting this now, you have to be kind of careful because when that part splits off, you could get it to roll this way and you don't want to be standing there. So I was cutting from this side because it can't roll far, you know, because the tractor's blocking it. You kind of got to watch what you're doing. You don't want to be pinned underneath something that's heavy. Okay, now I have a square edge to run my Alaskan along. Now I could go and move this plank over, because I had switched to my 20-inch bar too, because I didn't need that penetration. You know, 24 just gets in the way. Yeah, so I got 19. But like I say, I'm going to cut one 1-inch board and then see what I get. And then I'll decide if I want to go, well, I'll cut one, then I'll probably cut a 4. And then I'll see what it looks like, and I'll decide if I want to move my guide board over here and knock this down to 12 inches. Seems like a waste though, and I could go an easy 16 and get quite a few good boards. But we'll see. The first thing I'll go ahead and, I think I'll switch back to my longer bar, my 24 inch, because I'm going to need it. I won't be able to go all the way with my 20 inch. But I'll put the 24 on and the Alaskan and cut a 1-inch board, and I can kind of see how much effect this rot is going to have. So you never know what you're going to get inside. So that makes a big difference on how much wood you can get out of her. Okay, I took off a 1-inch thick slab. Well, that brings me down to the core. And I think what I'm going to do now, I was going to take just a solid 4, which would work, but I think what I'll do instead is to take a couple of 2-inch pieces that I could end up with 2 good 2x6s out of the first cut, and the same out of the second, really. Yeah, because this part here, I could get 2 2x6s here, 1 here, and then depends on how this crack behaves, what I'll get out of that. So I'll reset the Alaskan for a 2-inch, or a little over 2, like that's a little over 1. I always leave a little bit for planing, just to get saw marks out. But I'll reset that and take another whack at it. Let's see what we're dealing with. Oh, that's going to be heavy. Yeah, right at the crack. Just coming through the core. Well, again, there's a poor spot up here. Yeah, I think I'll take one more 2-inch piece. Well, this is kind of a little awkward here, but normally when I start cutting, I've got a particular purpose in mind, but I really don't for this wood. This tree just kind of was in the way and it was dead. So I've cut a couple of the 2-inch and a 1-inch, but again, it's a little over that measurement, so I got room to plane. And this I cut half though really it's like 5/8. And I think I'm going to cut another one of them, at least one more. You know, my thought would be, I kind of like, this is a good big chunk of wood, and it's clear for a long ways. It would work for like inset panels and like a cupboard door, you know, that kind of thing. But like I say, I really don't have a project in mind for these. So it's a little awkward cutting. So I'm just trying to get the best wood as much as I can out of this. And I'll think of something. You know, I got a few things in mind that would work. But I'm going to think about this a little. Kind of decide. Because there'll be a point here pretty soon where I think I'm going to split it. Well, of course, that center part's a nice piece too. I guess I'll just cut some more of these 1/2-inch ones. And I do have the whole other half of the log out there. So between, you know, the whole log, I should be able to make some interesting project. But I'm going to stack them up out there and leave them dry. But first I'll coat the ends with pine tar so they don't crack. And leave them sit until I come up with a project in mind for them. Let them dry out because there's a little moisture in it because it still had roots in the ground. But like I say, it's a little awkward cutting when I don't have a particular project in mind, which is my usual thing. But we'll see. But just kind of nice hunks of wood. You know, even like a little boxes for storing jars, quart jars in. You could make some nice little boxes out of that. Well, I don't know. It's a puzzler.